Hello, Monarch fans. Welcome back to the Hudson Homers podcast. I've got CB with me. He was on this fun, long adventure down into Alabama and Mississippi. Potentially having Coach Finwood join here in a little while. We will see. If not, we'll definitely get to any questions for him in the next episode. But CB, other than being tired from your 2 a.m. arrival back into Norfolk on Monday morning, how are things going?
4 a.m. arrival. Let's make sure we get all the credit. Yeah, it was. I got the full experience of the baseball road trip there. Not getting until 4 a.m. It was that was a lot. We were supposed to get in about midnight, and they just kept. I mean, we were because I happened to be. I wasn't flying with the team, because I'm just kind of separate on my own thing. They don't pay me or anything. But so we ended up on the same flights because there's not a lot of options getting out of Mississippi back to Norfolk. So we were in Jackson and gotten delayed and delayed and delayed. I think it was supposed to be a 7:30 flight, didn't leave till like 9:30 or something like that. And then out of Atlanta, it was supposed to be a 10:30 flight. We didn't leave there until like around 2 a.m. And then even by the time we're getting into Norfolk, I watched the guy next to me had the map up, and like we're like circling all around Hampton Roads trying to avoid. So even to the very end, it's still like 10 minutes longer. But fortunately, we had a great game on Sunday and we won, so the mood was still fine. We're all just like, "Hey, we just want to get home," and it's everybody just wants to be in their own bed because they had left on the Wednesday before, so they have been gone for 12. I've been gone for 10 days. They've been gone for 12. But I'm great. I got to sleep last night finally in my own bed. It's fantastic. You don't realize how much you miss it. Pillows are huge. The casino pillow was terrible. But hey, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, it sounds like it was an exciting trip. I'm glad that it ended on a win because I imagine that made the travel back much better day on Monday, trying to start rehabbing from that. We know that the William & Mary game was originally supposed to be Tuesday. It's moved back to Wednesday. And we got the rest of the confirmation of the home schedule. Georgia State coming to War Memorial Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There were some adjustments to the game times. Friday is going to be 3 p.m. Saturday, Sunday are now 1 p.m. I think it was originally pushed out as 11 a.m. It'll be 1 p.m. Saturday, Sunday at War Memorial. So if you got pregame plans, you got a couple more hours to go. Enjoy yourself before you head down across the street from the Hampton City Jail Annex.
It should be. I've been there a million times. I got a War Memorial, 20 times a summer. I had no idea the jail was right there. But no, it should be great weather. Yeah, it was great of William and Mary being able to push that game. I know number one, the late travel, and number two, it's like, well, we don't really know. The bus has got all the equipment driving separately. Who knows if the equipment's really going to be there by like right now when they would have been playing. So yeah, I'm sure nobody was sad about the game being pushed. Probably not even the William Mary guys. I think everybody doesn't mind that.
No, and you mentioned to me like the players are probably ready to go that next day because they're 18 to 22-year-olds.
Yeah,
Imagine the
they
coaching
had to play the
staff
game.
and you felt differently.
Yeah. The players probably would have. Oh yeah, we got a game at noon. Whatever. We're like the coaches and me, we wouldn't have been able to do it.
Yeah, definitely. And from our last episode, Coach Finwood didn't have a whole lot of a voice. He's definitely feeling better, which is a good thing.
Yes.
But nothing worse than being on a long road trip and get sick kind of right in the middle of it. But he is good to
Yeah,
go.
and there was a lot of pollen down in Hattiesburg. The place was just covered. Every time I went to the rental car, it was covered in pollen. Like we're there in the dugout, like the whole inside of the dugout's covered in pollen. The rails are covered in pollen. So at the airport on Sunday, all the guys were just still sniffling and sneezing and all. So I'm sure a few of them are probably still feeling a little bit of that, and hopefully getting over because just allergies, nothing like sickness or anything.
Well, they should have all built up the same immunity at this point because they've been in such close quarters for the past,
Yeah.
2 weeks. So hopefully we're good to go there because there's definitely some more travel trips on the horizon.
Mm-hmm.
But we go 2-5 on this long road trip. I mean, all those games against ranked opponents. I don't think anyone here is 2-5 and is necessarily happy about that, but definitely better than going 1-6 or 0-7. So we get the win against Auburn, we get the win against Southern Miss, and I kind of feel like we had every opportunity to go and win that Saturday game at Southern Miss. We just kind of had that meltdown inning that really doomed us, and the offense couldn't get back going again.
Yeah, and even before that, we had the and I in the moment I'm blanking about who it was. But we had the runner on third base, and I want to say the fifth inning, sixth inning, with no outs. Leadoff batter gets to third. And we got 3 guys coming up with no outs and 3 strikeouts. Could not put the ball in play, couldn't get a ground ball, couldn't get a fly ball, nothing to get that guy in. And so that's frustrating. I know Finney pointed out to him, say, hey, at that point, the game is 5-3. The way you manage in a 5-3 game, the way you play in a 5-3 game is just it's different than the way you play in a 4-3 game. I mean, 3 runs in mentally feels like a lot. 2 runs, it's like, hey man, 2 runs is nothing. Like 2 runs can happen on accident. 3, just for whatever reason, it's like a lot. So yeah, that obviously, the inning there with Ben, it did not go over. Ben Moore, it did not go well. But even before that, it's like, hey, winning teams capitalize on these things, and there's still the little mistakes, the little things that this team has got a lot of things they need to tighten up. A lot of time, a lot of moments we play sloppy. The defense sometimes is sloppy. The offense sometimes again because they're not now. Now I will say things went in better directions. He really got on him, especially after that Friday night when, frankly, it was just embarrassing against Southern Miss. Uh, so things went a lot better the next couple of days, which led to doing all the right things on Sunday to get the win.
Yeah, the Friday game was definitely a difficult one to watch. Like that was not the team that we've been watching so far this season. And despite what the record says, they're a good ball team. And that
Yeah,
was just kind of the wheels falling off a little bit. But I was glad to hear that Coach Finney and the rest of the staff kind of got into him a little bit of motivation. They definitely played better on Saturday. But I think we had 3 errors in that game. And then, of course, we have the big 8-run 8th inning. And as I'm sure they've now experienced on the road, when you have those big crowds that get loud, like you see at Southern Miss and Auburn, even Mississippi State, they came down to Biloxi and packed the place out.
that
Once
was
you
crazy.
start, once you kind of start that slide, the crowd gets into it, and it becomes even harder and harder to overcome, and you can turn into these 8-run innings. And that really doomed us because I mean we really hadn't played poorly at all up until that 8th inning. So you're just kind of getting an out here, getting an out there away from going down and winning a series against a ranked Southern Miss team. You feel a lot different at 2-1, but unfortunately that's not where we are. But we've got some opportunities ahead of us to start getting back more in that win column, to start gaining some ground in the Sun Belt. Because we are not last in the Sun Belt. There were 3 teams that got swept this weekend, and teams you didn't necessarily expect. Georgia Southern, South Alabama, Texas State all got swept this weekend. Coastal, Georgia State, who's coming to town this weekend, and App State, we have the following weekend. They are all 3-0. So the Sun Belt's still wide open in case you're worried that it got settled in the first weekend series.
No, and it's what you said there is doing those little things that's the difference between being 2-1 and being 1-2. It's the difference between maybe being 3-4 or 4-3 on the road trip instead of 2-5. And that's the difference. Is what's going to make you a team that is good and can compete at the level they really should be able to compete at, and a team that has the record they have right now. That's the reality. And yeah, the Finney and the coaches definitely it was a challenge after the game on Friday. It's like, look, this is not. I mean, it basically came down to like this is not what Old Dominion baseball is. And he said this is not what it's been for years and years and years. Definitely not been what it's been since Finwood's been here. And so that's just not going to be. I mean, there was at the one point it was like, hey, you know what? If you're not willing to do these things, turn your uniform in. I mean that's the reality. It really I think it's what unfortunately some guys need. I think sometimes guys need to hear the reality, like, hey, this isn't okay. What we're doing is not okay. And it's not everybody. I mean, there's some guys, no matter what, they're going to be running through a brick wall. But some guys are just, everyone has different motivations. I don't care what if you're playing baseball, what you're doing in life. People motivate differently. Different things reach them in different ways. And unfortunately, sometimes you got to get kicked in the teeth. Sometimes that's a motivator. I know the last time I ever got punched in the face made me say I'm never going to get in a situation where I get myself punched in the face. Like, right? I'll talk my mess and then leave real fast. I'm not going to stand there and talk my mess anymore.
Yeah, typically good, especially when you start getting in the upper 30s to try not to get punched in the face because you don't bounce back as well as you did when you were 21 and you were drinking beers 30 seconds later.
I'm 43. If you punch me in the face now, my whole face will probably implode. Like it's over for me. It'll turn to dust. I'll just turn into a little cloud. It'd be like the end of Avengers Infinity War where everyone's just like, Mr. Stark, I don't feel good. One of those.
the snap happens and we're
yes.
You're
the snap would be all the bones in my body if you punch me.
And going to the doctor is not exactly a cheap experience anymore. So
terrible.
But there were some bright spots. We saw some guys kind of come to life offensively that have been struggling lately. TJ Aiken's one of them. Luke Waters, I think, also had a nice bounce back, hitting a couple home runs for us, coming through big. We saw some guys start to find their footing offensively, which we desperately need.
Yeah, Luke was he was 3 for 11 with 2 homers, 3 RBIs, and a hit by a pitch. So I mean, not an amazing week, but he had the 2 home runs, and again, that was after that Friday game, and that he came right out and just said boom, boom, and that was where we were up on Saturday and feeling good. You mentioned TJ, another nice week for him. He's a really talented ball player. TJ is one of my favorite guys. I love the kid. He was 5 for 14, had 2 walks, 3 RBIs, hit a home run, stole a base, had a sac fly. It's another good week. Let's see who else I write it down here. Tyler's Dallas. Now he only had the one good game, but he was still 3 for 10 for the week because he was 3 for 4 on Sunday. Missed the cycle by a double. I really wanted it in that last at bat so bad. I was like, oh man, I want a double. I've never seen a cycle in person. So yeah, homer, triple, 2 RBIs, which is great. They said they did a few little adjustments in his swing. He's one of those guys. He looks like a ball player. Like he's one of those guys. He's got the size. He's got the look, and you see the talent there. So it'd be nice to see Tyler really do well. Zach Leet had a it wasn't an amazing week, but a 4 out of 15. Had a homer and big homer in the Mississippi State game. Had a double, 2 RBIs. And Kyle Edwards, of course, had an outstanding week. He was 7 for 16, 2 walks, had a double, 2 stolen bases. So he was. So yeah, we've definitely seen some of the hitters get back in the right direction. Efrain Morales was really scuffling there. I think he hadn't had a hit since that home run, the very first at bat in Auburn, and then he had a couple hits on Sunday. So yeah, we're seeing some guys move in the right direction, which is nice.
Yeah, and Ephraim I know moved down in the lineup mainly on that Sunday, kind of taking a little bit of the pressure off from the leadoff spot. Kyle Edwards jumps into that role, and he has 3 hits to kind of help propel us to that win on Sunday. Yeah, you're talking about Zach Leet, and we're gonna have Bailey Matela joining us here in just a few minutes. But you're talking about Zach Leet. I had to get this from the Mississippi State game. The awesome shot you got of one, this is the home run celebration. 2, those jerseys are pretty nasty. Those are awesome.
Yeah, the black uniforms and the black hats. It's a solid look. They definitely have had those before. It's been a while. I want to feel like the kind of Adam Bainbridge and the Simmons, that kind of era. The 17 or so, maybe pre Vinny Pasquantino, early Vinny Pasquantino. So it's been a little while since we've worn these.
Yeah, I know that for a while Under Armour was pushing out kind of like the black alternate uniforms for everything because we had them for football and a couple other sports, but throwing this in every once in a while is not exactly a bad thing, especially with the hat combo too. And the home run chain is fine. You throw that on anytime you want.
Yeah, and that level of excitement. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that was not a small feat. He hit that big bomb there, and that was there in Biloxi, which is funny. It's a double-A park. That really to me it feels a little more like a single A park. They just happen to have double-A in it. Nice. It's a nice ballpark, but it's funny how compared to Auburn, which we had been to right before, is like this is no comparison. Auburn's college baseball park is way nicer than this professional double-A ballpark where guys are like a step away from getting called to the big leagues. But that was a really neat night. It was again Mississippi State was the home team, and I being from here, I don't really have a good bearing on where things are in Mississippi. Mississippi State is 4 hours away from Biloxi, and they had this double-A ballpark, which I don't know what it seats, 4,000 or 5,000 people. It was packed. I think all but the very, very ends, like down the first and third base line, those sections were a little bit empty, but everything else was just like I couldn't leave the dugout to go around anywhere and take pictures because like there's nowhere I could sit to go. I wanted a couple times. I was like, well, I'd like to get a different angle. I'm like, there's no seat. There's nowhere I can not be in the way somewhere.
And that's wild to bring that many fans from that far away. And I know that they have fans all over the state, and a lot of them are probably more local, but still, check and see what the attendance is like at War Memorial over the weekend, which is just across the river. It's just going to be a different environment, different culture down there.
The whole trip was like that. It was like, this is where you want to be as a team. Because I know Southern baseball is just different. Now Auburn right now has number 1 basketball team, and their football has been amazing. So they're just like sports. But like, Mississippi State, you don't ever hear anything about Mississippi State football or basketball. You definitely don't hear anything about Southern Miss football or basketball. They're baseball schools. So it is easy for them, to push that and be so big at it. But it really shows like Southern Miss all weekend, they were packed. Even the Saturday night after the Hurricanes and all. I mean, the attendance wasn't as big, but there were a lot of people there, and it was really, it's really neat to see, like, okay, this is what you want, you hope, and you hope as you build this new stadium, and you hope is you get keep being better and keep having the program that you want to have and showing up and playing the way you want to play, that you get, because there are three very aspirational situations we got to experience.
Yeah, I think the way you get there is you've got to build the program up to be consistently ranked, and we're not far off that. If you go and look
Yep.
at like our last 10 year, like we're right on their heels in terms of what we are as a program. The new stadium will help a ton. I think anything we can do there in the NIL space and with the roster size limits changing, like that could actually benefit us quite a bit here.
I can't remember if Finney said this, but they said Auburn has $2 million in NIL money on their baseball roster. Not sure. I think it was something like 250,000 for Southern Miss, which is, it's not 2 million, but compared to the zero that we have, because again, now if I'm at Southern Miss, I would put all my money into the baseball, because the baseball could be good. I don't think Southern Miss football or basketball is going to be national contenders, but again, that's the reality. They're a Sun Belt team, and just like us, one of the things I think is cool is that our teams in baseball can be ranked, in the top 25, which is something that unfortunately football, who knows if it'll ever happen. Basketball, it's been a long time, and our teams can beat ranked teams. We were 2-5 on a road trip. We played 7 games against top 25 teams and won 2 of them. I don't know that would happen in football or basketball if we gave them 7 chances against top 25 teams to play, and would they win 2 of them? Again, that's just not the reality of the levels are just so different that we actually, as a mid-major, can compete and could very easily, with some things happening, become a perennial top 25 team.
Absolutely. And I think we're closer to that than people realize in terms of being like Southern Miss. Like I think you're always going to have the Auburns, the Mississippi States, that they just get so much money in TV revenue and donations. You're not going to compete. So you look at who you
the
should
SEC
be
is different.
With. Yeah. I mean, that's even different compared to the ACC. If you look at the money, like there's just as big of a gap between those and there is to us. But the Southern Miss is the baseball program we want to compete with, I think, in the Sun Belt. Like they've been the perennial team. They were really great with us in Conference USA too. So, but that's something
Coastal is right there too. They're currently competitive. Yeah, you're right. There are these teams. Again, you don't have to be Auburn. It'd be amazing. That'd be one I would. Phenomenal, right? You don't have to miss, but you're right. There is no reason we can't be at the kind of level and doing the kind of things that Southern Miss does, because let me tell you, their place wasn't anything special. Their ballpark wasn't anything special. It was nice. They got seats there. It's cool. They got, and some of it was benches. They have, the field's nice. It's all turf field. The dugouts aren't especially amazing. The visitors one is kind of a little janky, honestly, which, I'm sure they did on purpose, because you walk over to the home side. The way it's constructed is weird. It's just kind of like down this little pit. But the home side had all the nice new finishing and stuff, and they have got a nice bullpen area, nice hitting facility, but it's nothing like, I mean, again, it's not like what we saw at Auburn, right? So they're not working with any kind of, facilities that are any, great shakes, amazing and better than ODU. Probably by the time we finish the stadium, we'll have everything nicer and better, I would imagine. But the community down there, the situation. Now, I will also say, having been in Hattiesburg for the whole, 3 or 4 days there is nothing else to do. There's a reason. There's a reason they pack the place. Like, and I think about it, we started talking about some of the different places. Now we don't have that same excuse with, like, down in Conway, right? I mean, Conway's close enough to Myrtle Beach. There's plenty to do. But that's one thing here in Hampton Roads. There's a lot to do. So you have to remember that sometimes you're competing with a lot of things, and so that's a different thing. But you're in Hattiesburg. Yeah, if you want to do something on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that's probably about your best option in town.
Yeah, I mean, and also down in the South, they don't have a lot of Major League Baseball teams, so they cling to their college teams like, we would our MLB teams. We can get there, though. We got to market it the right way. We got to get the product on the field, which I think is going to go in the right direction, and we'll get better with a new facility. You're dead on, man. It's the fans that make that experience. Like that right field corner where you can back up your truck and tailgate and watch the game is one of the coolest things in college sports. So.
And we start that. We had, Rally Alley is great. That was a thing that Finney brought in, because they had that when he was at Western Kentucky. That's a really fun spot. Again, I don't go down there much because I'm taking pictures and all. It's just not, and it's also just in general not my scene. I just want to watch the game. But for the people who like, I'm the worst one because I would never be good at building a program and all because I just want to sit there and watch my game and kind of. I'm not there for like the hanging out and stuff that you guys like and enjoy. But
Yeah.
it's great, and like the times when we have some of the former players come and they're good for yelling and razzing the other team and in a fun way, which again not really my thing, but like it makes for a good atmosphere. So we've got the building blocks, we've got the stuff, and you want to see the fans keep getting more invested, more involved, and making these kind of things happen. Bring your friends, come to the games. Hey, frankly, look, I know we don't have home games this year, right? Harbor Park's right there in Norfolk. No excuse you can't go to those games. War Memorial, it's just across the bridge. I know people in Hampton Roads hate going to other cities. I know if you tell someone in Norfolk to go to Virginia Beach, they think it's like the other. You tell someone in Virginia Beach to go to Chesapeake, they get across the bridge. It's not that hard. Okay, just do it.
And for those of us in Richmond and on the peninsula, this is actually easier. I'm an hour 15 door to door to War Memorial. So I'll be down there Saturday.
I might be
Sunday.
an hour 15 door to door to War Memorial.
Yeah, well, you got to deal with the tunnel, which is the whole problem. So, all right. Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have Bailey Matela hop on with us.
Let's go.
This episode of the Monarchist Podcast is brought to you by the Pride of ODU Collective. Their mission is to elevate the experience of student athletes through name, image, and likeness, while also elevating the fan experience. If you or your business are interested in getting involved, you can reach out to us directly or go over to theprideofodu.com. That is theprideofodu.com. Thank you for listening, and go Monarchs.
All right, welcome back, Monarch fans. We've got Bailey Matela, who has joined us here, fresh off of the long road trip through Alabama and Mississippi. So, Bailey, really appreciate you taking some time out of your day, one of your few days you've actually had at home this baseball season. But how you doing, Bailey?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, definitely. Well, long road trip, basically 2 straight weeks on the road. Just kind of what were your overall thoughts of that trip and the experiences that you had there?
Yeah, no, I definitely thought it was a lot of fun. But just being with the guys the whole time. So there was some long days, definitely some boring days, but especially those travel days. But no, just being with everyone, getting to hang out in the hotels, I feel like really was a lot of fun. Brought us all really close.
Do you have any guys that are like your favorite guy? Like who are your like best buddies?
Say that again.
Who are like the guys who are like you're like these are my favorite guys. These are my boys.
Man, I mean it's a fun hanging out with a lot of them, but I mean I roomed with Kellen both weeks, so being with him was a lot of fun. Didn't get tired of him, which I'm surprised because that was a long time to be together.
Did you figure out what exactly he does to throw that raptor pitch or whatever we're calling it these days?
No, I still have no idea. I wish I did.
It's the 8th wonder of the world is that
Yeah.
pitch that he throws. Well, you came into some pretty big high leverage situations over the weekend against good teams with crazy crowds. Mainly, obviously getting through a pretty important bridge inning there to get the win on Sunday. What was it like warming up with that crowd around you and then coming into the game? What were your feelings there?
Yeah, honestly, I mean, you get used to it. You just kind of use it to fuel you, I guess. Like, I don't really pay too much attention to it. Just kind of use it to get some good energy going and get ready. Kind of gives me like that. I just want to beat your team even more now. So.
That's great. So you're a local guy, right? So what city did you grow up in? Was it? I know they list Norfolk. Is that where you grew up?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I know. Like the first, you went to Greenbrier Christian High School, Greenbrier Christian Academy. You were coached by Pat Nichols, who great, former Old Dominion Monarch alumni. A lot of people, if you don't know, he at one point was had the second most home runs ever in a season at ODU. It was a catcher, played professionally for the Washington Nationals, the minors. One of my favorite guys. I've known him about 20 years. One of my favorite guys. I remember, I think you were in 8th grade. And he was like, yeah, I got this big lefty. He's gonna be really, really good. And I was like, he kind of pointed you out. I was like, well, he's big. I know that. I was like, it's pretty. So you're a junior now, so it's kind of amazing. Like got to see you play over the years. So tell us about like you ending up at ODU. Like, how did you kind of end up getting recruited, getting to ODU? What made you choose ODU? What keeps you here, right? I mean, because like in the Portland area, right? What keeps you staying at ODU?
Yeah. I mean, high school. It's actually a really funny story of how I was recruited. During COVID, I was throwing bullpens in my driveway, and Mike Marin and his family were on a bike ride and saw me throwing a bullpen in my driveway and gave me a call later that day. So that's a really funny story of how I was recruited. And then from there,
So all the kids in Norfolk need to go out and throw bullpens in their driveways now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But after that, it was pretty quickly after I think I committed. And then, I mean, it was an easy decision, like a great program right in my backyard, and all my family can come out and watch and support. And like, I mean, they could walk there if they wanted to. I mean, we are right there.
Wow. I guess I realize, yeah, because I know your mom and your granddad are at basically every game. You typically have a pretty nice cheering section anytime you come in.
Yeah, yeah.
That might be the wildest recruiting story I've heard. Like literally rides past you on a bike, sees you throwing. Does he like stop, take the helmet off, like come walking over? Like, is that basically how that went down?
I actually didn't even notice. He said he stopped and watched a few pitches, but he'd seen me play before. But yeah.
Does he just pull the radar gun out of the basket on the bike and just see what you're pinging there?
Yeah.
Oh, that is awesome. Well,
speaking of your family, this is one thing I don't think I've ever asked you or talked to your mom about. Your mom played college basketball, is that right?
Yeah, she did. I think she played one season, and then she got hurt. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's dope though. It's one of those things. I mean, you're a college athlete. I don't think it matters what level of college you're playing at, where you're playing at. Like being a college athlete is impressive. I don't really care what you're playing, where you're playing it. Unless you're doing esports, that might not be as impressive to me. But
yeah.
Hey, the ODU esports team is actually really good. So
are they good for that?
Yeah,
hey, there you go.
They're really good.
I apologize to the ODU esports team that I didn't know existed.
Yeah. Well, Bailey,
did you know that was a thing, Bailey?
What's that?
Did you know ODU esports? Did you know that existed?
I did not as well.
There you go. All right. So they gotta get a little more better at their marketing, I think.
Yeah, I think that's why they keep reaching out to us. They've got like a whole little stadium where they play and all kinds of cool stuff. But
check this out, maybe.
Yeah, well, since we're on the topic of video games, I'll go ahead and ask you this now and put you on the spot. So we know the college football game came back. There's going to be a college baseball element to the new MLB, the show that's coming out. If you had to give yourself an overall rating, what would that be? And then what attribute would you have the highest point on? Like, would it be like velocity, control, command, and then what's your overall rating?
Oh, wow, that is a good question. I mean, I would definitely say my top attribute would be probably like break on like my off-speed pitches. And then overall, I mean, reliever, I don't throw the hardest, but I'd say like an 85. We'll give myself an 85.
Ooh, okay.
Solid rating. 85 with great break. You can work with that. You can win games with that.
I like the relievers you guys are always so funny because y'all are always so like modest, you know. You're like I'm gonna be realistic. It's like Jay Cassidy last year was my favorite. He's like an 82, like a sneaky 82. You know, it's like 80 an 85 lefty reliever. Like we can work with that in any video game I've ever played. I'm down with that.
Right.
Oh yeah. Well, this year's obviously a unique one. Not getting to play any games at the Bud, and you get like some kind of home games at War Memorial. I'm sure playing at Harvard Park is going to be awesome from you being a Norfolk native. But how has this travel schedule impacted like your throwing schedule? Has it thrown any of that timing off, especially coming off of basically 2 straight weeks on the road?
Right. These other teams have been really good about letting us use their field when we need to, like as long as they're not out there, obviously. But I think the biggest thing it's impacting is just you have to sleep in a hotel. You don't have your own space. And then obviously, like we don't have access to a lot of things. Like if we wanted to go to the field and just stretch or throw, like we don't have access to that. We have to do that as a team and stuff. But overall, like we get our throwing done whenever we need to, like at the practices, and then the other teams let us use their weight rooms. So when we need to, we have access to things. But yeah, biggest thing is just the hotels.
But how excited are you to be able to sleep in your own bed after this upcoming weekend series?
Oh, I'm very excited. I won't know what that's like for a while. It's up until this weekend.
So speaking of your own bed, who are you living with this year?
So I live in a house on Melrose, right next to the football stadium.
Oh wow.
I'm in there with Tyler Stott, and then my brother actually lives there too.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, brother and cousin.
Okay. Now is Harley your younger brother lives there?
No, I have a middle brother.
I didn't even know that.
Yep.
Okay, look at you. Okay.
Yeah.
Since I brought him up, I was saying, since I brought him up, Harley, you got a younger brother who's a little bit of a baseball stud, right? I think you said you were actually out there watching him today, right?
Yeah, he's pretty good. I don't want to give him too much credit, but
yeah,
he's looking like he's gonna do some big things.
Yeah, he's a freshman there right now, right?
Yeah,
in high school. Yeah. Okay. So I mean, again, we don't have to push him. We don't have to we don't have to give the hard sell. I'm just saying, always make sure if he needs some extra clothes, he's got like an ODU shirt, ODU hat.
Yeah.
Just kind of make sure the kid stays well attired. I know he goes to plenty of games. I'm just saying, make sure he's you don't have to hard sell him, but just let him know.
Right. Yeah. I will. I'll make sure.
We'll just get him in the driveway, throwing some bullpens, and tell Marin that, hey, somebody left a bike outside your house, and he'll come right by.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Well, what's been the vibe of the team coming off of this road trip? Like, obviously, if you just look at the overall record, it's not super impressive, but of course we know that schedule has been just a beast this season. What's that mentality like, and how much are you all focusing on like the Sun Belt series now that we've gotten into conference play?
Yeah. I mean, obviously we want to win as much as possible. And I mean, we expect to win any game we go into. It doesn't matter who we're playing. But I think like mentality and vibes are still really high. Like we know that was a tough schedule and it was tough to do all on the road as well. So we're really looking forward to conference play and just getting out there and just really getting after it, especially playing at home technically at home in front of some of our own fans too will be nice.
Yeah, not having the crowd getting on you every 5 seconds will probably be a nice change after your last 7 games in front of just brutal fan bases.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were leaving Saturday, and like guys were like heckling Bailey on the way out of the ballpark. I was like, that's a little weird. That was otherwise the Southern Miss fans were pretty nice, but they were there. I mean, there's always gonna be a drunk jerk everywhere you go. So I was like, come on, guys. Like you pitched amazing. What are they mad at you for?
Yeah.
Well, I know going into this weekend over at War Memorial, we'll feel a little bit more like a home game. Obviously, more ODU fans will be there. What are you most looking forward to as far as like adjusting anything you're doing from the road trip you just had to going into this weekend? Is there anything you're kind of fine tuning before you get fired up Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
I think just staying ready to get after it in any situation I'm called into. I feel like my process has been really good so far and just coming in these tight situations. So I just keep doing what I'm doing.
So that's one thing, you were a starter pretty much all through high school, and then you've been a reliever pretty much all in college. What was there a transition period, or is there a different kind of mentality? Do you find you like this better?
I definitely like being in the end of the game. I mean, starting was fun, but getting to come in and shut the door on someone in a big situation is a lot of fun. Really big adrenaline booster too.
We noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome shot from CB there from that Southern Miss game. You getting fired up. I think I accidentally kicked CB off here too. There we go. We're back.
There we go.
Yeah. Well, I know we've seen a couple guys this year. I know Blake has been getting like really into it, kind of channeling his Jacob Gomez from last season. Is that just spur of the moment thing, or are you trying to send a message to your dugout saying like, "Hey, let's go win this game"?
Probably a little bit of both. I mean, you're in the moment. You kind of just like blank when things happen. You're all fired up, and everyone else is fired up for you. So it just kind of happens.
Yeah, those are as a photographer, those are moments like I'm hoping for that. I'm sitting there when you get like a couple of strikes, we get like I'm like focused on you, like it kind of like I'm like to the point where like somebody might make an amazing dive or play or something. It's like, well, I'm gonna miss it because I'm hoping you get that shot. So
Yeah.
I say as a photographer, I love when you guys do it. It's very fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, you may have seen it before we brought you on, but what were your thoughts on these kind of throwback black uniforms the other night in Mississippi State?
I like them. I like the black hats too. It's nice to have different options, like how we have the gray this year too. It's nice to not just have the navy hat.
Yeah, the gray is sick. Yeah, Paul Panic and the other day we're talking about. We think it would be neat to have the navy top with the Hudson pants.
Oh yeah.
I think that would look good.
There's so many different like combinations you could do with those jerseys and pants.
You just got to find one that you can wear for all 3 games of a weekend series and sweep, and then just keep wearing those same ones until you lose.
Yeah,
No washing
exactly.
either.
There you go.
Awesome. Well, Bailey, we'll let you get out of here. Really appreciate your time, especially after a long road trip. We'll let you spend time with family, friends, or just relax and enjoy some peace and quiet for a change. But really appreciate it, and good luck tomorrow at William & Mary, and then of course over the weekend against Georgia State.
Oh yeah, thank you.
All right, thanks, man. Appreciate you, man. We'll see you soon.
All right, see ya. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, bud. Yeah, it's a good. No, I definitely remember. My face is huge in this view.
I'm working on it.
I was like, I know I keep it a little zoomed in, but I was like, that's all face. But no, I definitely remember like when Pat Nichols there at Greenbrier Christian, because we talk about guys. Knew he's got, he's an ODU guy. He wants anybody who's good. He's the one that you got Jason Hart lined over to ODU. I'm sure he made calls about Bailey coming to ODU. He's going to make sure any good Greenbrier Christian players end up at Old Dominion. That's what he wants. But I definitely remember him like being like, yeah, this kid, he's big lefty, he's real good. And it was like, he's in 8th grade now. I was like, geez, man, you're telling me about it. An 8th grader is good. He's like, yeah, he's that good. I'm like, all right, I believe it. He was, and Bailey was, a lot of high school guys are good all around. He DH'd his senior year for him, and it was a solid hitter the whole season too.
Yeah, well, maybe he can warm the bat up and see what happens. But it's been nice to see Bailey kind of settle in and become one of the stoppers out of the bullpen. The inning that he tossed there on Sunday helped set up the win. I mean, he doesn't get the win or the save. He kind of gets that hold stat they do in MLB. But it was a shutdown inning. Got to a really tough part of the order and really set things up well for us to finish that game out and come away with one conference win. Because being 1-2 in the standings right now is so much better than being 0-3 because you're just all uphill from here. And if you focus on winning your home series, like we talked about a lot last year, you can set yourself up in a good spot and be well positioned for the tournament. So hopefully this just onslaught of a schedule to start the year pays dividends starting against William & Mary. Like that's a game we need to go win. Like we need to win that game. And then we got to win the series against Georgia State.
Yeah, William & Mary is, I think, what do we say? They're 5-15. I have it up here, right? Wherever it went. Yeah, 5-15. Their 5-15 is not the same as our 5-12 that we have. They have not really played the same level of competition. They played a few, I think they got beat by ECU this past weekend, which they're about the most. Yeah, they got swept by ECU. Got run ruled twice. They split with Princeton. Kansas State's always got a good program. They got swept by them. Virginia beat them. So they played some teams, but in general, like the teams, they're losing 2 out of 3 to Rhode Island. Like these are, we need to beat William & Mary and beat them well, and just to show like, hey, we can. And William & Mary is one of the teams that generally when we play them, we do pretty well. I think the years where we are feeling ourselves a little too much and we go in too overconfident, like, oh yeah, we're just going to beat them, no problem. That's when William & Mary tends to beat us. So as long as they go in, and again, right now, I think you and I said this the other day, there's no reason that at this point that ODU should have any kind of cockiness and thinking they could beat anybody. It's like they can, but they got to show up. So if they go in and just keep that good kind of approach they had going Saturday and Sunday, they should be fine against William & Mary tomorrow night.
You have to go into it thinking that you are backed into the corner of a cage and you're going to have to fight your way out. I will bring back the unfortunate memories of Princeton last year, where we get too excited about thinking that we're going to win. This is a game that we should win. And I think it's a game that might let some guys stretch their legs out, build up some confidence before Georgia State rolls into town over the weekend. Because Georgia State, they're 15-6 overall. They're 3-0 in the Sun Belt after sweeping South Alabama at home. Some close games they won 9-2, 3-0, and then what must have been a fun 15-14 game to watch to round out the series. So I think that the pitching looks like for both South Alabama and Georgia State kind of runs out after day 2. But they swept that series. They've played some tough teams. They've got South Carolina. They've played Georgia Tech. They've played Georgia. I think the one that you might want to flag for like ODU fans is they did play a series against UT Martin at home. They took 2 out of 3, and that was a team that absolutely shut us down at Murfreesboro a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and like I said, their schedule, they're you literally said them. It's 15-6, yeah, and they've lost against the good teams really. And they said UT Martin is one that we played, and they beat them 2 out of 3. But otherwise, this is they're not really a 15-6 team. They just have a 15-6 record. But again, you're right. They sweeping in conference is not easy, and they did it. And so you got to respect that. But again, you're playing them, and I fully believe in this team's ability and this team's talent. Old Dominion. I think things have happened, and now again, can you question maybe some of their toughness, some of their want-to-ness, some of the pure grit? Yeah, I think you can. And some of the guys hopefully are answering those questions. But yeah, the talent is there. And so if you show up and you play hard and you play right, and hopefully you get to play in front of some of your fans and know you're going to sleep in your own bed that night, which psychologically has some big pluses to it. We're going to be good. I'm a little sad that they made the Friday game at 3:00 because that means I won't be able to see it. I got the real world. And so again, somebody wants to pay me to just go and watch ODU sports and just a full time. I'm all for like we can make that part of things. But until then, I gotta live in the real world. So, but I will be there. We'll be driving up to William & Mary tomorrow night, hopefully, or tonight, I guess if you're listening to this on Wednesday. Hopefully, make it there by game time. We'll see how that goes. Yeah,
I'm in the same boat. Planning to go to William & Mary tomorrow, unless I have study duty with the niece. But definitely be down there Saturday and Sunday. There's going to be a big contingent of ODU parents. They're going to be over there at War Memorial. So if you do make your way over the game, go by, say hello, shake their hand, let them know you support ODU baseball and the kids that are playing. Because that's one thing that this team is probably missing a lot right now is feeling that fan support.
Yeah.
When you're losing a lot of games, the record's not good, you're not playing at home, you can kind of disconnect, it feels like a little bit from your fan base. So it'd be nice, pick one of those days, come out. It's supposed to be a nice weather weekend. Come out, enjoy some baseball. The ballpark is cool. But Georgia State's going to come in hungry. I mean, they're going to be pretty confident going 3-0 after beating South Alabama. I mean, they gave us all kind of fits down in Atlanta to end the season last year. They're not some team that's going to roll over. It'd be nice to come out on Friday, punch them in the mouth, burn their bullpen, and then just try to get the next 2. And then all of a sudden, you're 4-2 in conference play. You're on a much different playing field than you were. But I think it's a big litmus test for this team this weekend.
I love that Georgia State's best player is number 99. I think that's fun. Caleb Freeman, he's hitting best right now for him, and he wears 99. I think it's fun.
Yeah, it's like they pulled him off the defensive line from the baseball team and brought him over there. He's got 14 doubles, 5 home runs, 22 ribbies, and he's hitting 400.
And that's where I didn't go down in the box scores. I did the same thing. You just kind of looked at the stats. But the 14 doubles and 5 homers. I wonder how many of those you hit against Georgia Tech and Georgia, and some of these teams they played. But hey, he hit them either way. No matter who you hit him against, they hit him against D1 teams.
I think it's also important to note that he's had 70 official at-bats, and according to the stat sheet, he has 34 walks, which that's got to be a stat error, right? On-base percentage of 600? It's a lot of walks, and he's 7 for 8 stealing bags. So they got to – let's not throw anything good to this guy. And
So you had 1 for 6 with a double against Georgia, 0 for 3 against Georgia. Yeah, so 1 for 5 with an RBI against Georgia Tech. Yeah, so he's not really. Now he did go. Let's see, this weekend he was 6 for 10 with 4 doubles, 2 triples, and a homer. So yeah, he had a good weekend.
yeah, not a bad day at the ballpark.
Yeah.
So they've got some dudes that can hit. I mean, you
Yeah.
don't put up 15 runs on a Sunbelt team unless you got some offensive firepower. So they're going to bring it.
Now the advantage that they could have, and you might be saying, I'm sorry. Again, I was interrupted. Nobody called to say I interrupt you, but I do interrupt you. I'm sorry about that. We know, and I'm bad at it. I'm trying to get better, even though I'm
All
not getting
good.
better. But they do have a 5.93 ERA as a team. So now again, that comes from you play some of those good teams. But so there's opportunity there if our guys show up and hit like they can and have the right approach and attack and be patient. Attack and be patient, which is ironic, but you have to do it in baseball. It's weird. You have to do it. You have to attack it like Philwood says. You know, and Hader talks about this all the time. You know, you attack in the right spots and be patient in the right spots. You know, you can't go into every single. You know, you have to have an approach, and part of the approach is knowing when to do when. And you know, because we have a lot of guys who unfortunately will have 2 strikes and they're sitting there not attacking. Like that's a time it's like, hey, if it's close at all, you swing, you foul it off, or you put it in play. But you can't. Striking out looking is frustrating. It really is.
Yeah, especially when you get in those situations where you're running on third, no outs. Like,
yeah,
you got to luck your way into getting that run home one way or another. And just close out a little bit more on Georgia State before we do a couple other things. Pitching wise, it looks like their 3 starters for this weekend are going to be Caleb White, Ross Norman, and Cole Roberts. Caleb White kind of looks like the ace of their staff. He's got a 4.5 ERA. But Ross Norman, he's got a 4.78 ERA, but his batting average against is only 191. So they got some sneaky talent on the mound, at least in their starting rotation. It gets a little bit dicier as you go down into the bullpen. So I think getting into those starters early, getting them out of the game, burn what bullpen you can on Friday, Saturday, and buckle up for a fun slugfest on Sunday.
The kid White has got 38 strikeouts in 26 innings. But then, like you said, he's got a 305 average against. So it seems like when you hit the ball, you hit it. So that again, the trick on guys like that is, have the right approach. If you sit back and let him dictate things, you're probably going to get yourself out, probably with a strikeout.
Yeah, they've got a couple of guys that have been good on the very back end of their bullpen. Tyson Benford and Jacob Cruz. Not a lot of innings, but 3 and 2 saves respectively. They're sub 2.6 ERAs. So there's depending on the competition, who they've done that against, obviously, but they are not the Georgia State that existed like 3 or 4 years ago when they were like, you wouldn't really lose a game to them. This is a very different team. They've obviously upskilled a good bit in the last couple of years. So
and
it'll
it's
be tight.
Play. We've said it a million times, right? In conference play, I don't care, if we get to the very last weekend of the season and the team is 0-27 in conference, it's still conference play, and they can still sweep you just as easy.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a road trip down to Louisiana, Monroe, and I don't know if you've ever been to Monroe, Louisiana, or have heard the stories from football and all that. It's an adventure just to get on the field in Monroe. So that's another one to watch out in the future. But we did miss one thing earlier.
Yeah, we kind of talked around it. Yeah. And I keep doing again. Another way that I run Ramshot over Gary is I keep kind of just making this without really talking to you about it. But in general, I think there hasn't been a lot of. We haven't had a lot where it's like, oh, who's it going to be? It's kind of like, well, yeah, it's going to be. So yeah, we mentioned Kyle Edwards, 7 for 16, a double, 2 walks and 2 steals. So very nice week for him. Played really good defense. Made some really good plays. And then Blake, Blake had the phenomenal start on Sunday. This is something I'm glad you put this up because I would have forgotten to mention this otherwise. When he got taken, because he came back out in the 7th inning or in the 8th inning and gave up that home run. And I think I can't remember if we took him out right after that or not. But when they took him out, the Southern Miss crowd gave him a standing ovation on the way out.
Wow.
Which is phenomenal. I mean, you talk about like the level of like class and baseball knowledge and just appreciation for competition that you have to have that was unreal. That was such a cool moment. And he, I think we were talking about at the airport that I think Blake's had 2 starts at Southern Miss and won both of them and given up like 1 run, like 13 innings or something like that. So they've got to see him pitch very well. So that was just you can't say anything better about a fan base than the opposing pitcher pieces you up for 7 innings and you give him a standing ovation on the way out. Like that's awesome
and well deserved because
yeah.
he just looked great on the mound, even without seeing what happened to the pitch and where it goes. But his mechanics, how fluid he looked, how just relaxed he looked, like nothing stressed him. Get a guy on, who cares? Like we're just going to plow right through that thing. Nice to see him come into that form and continue that upward swing of getting back to how he was as a freshman, where he was just so dominant out there. And it's something we're going to need.
And we needed it on Sunday. It was such, you think about, again, Friday we got embarrassed. And Saturday, we blew the game. We were ahead and gave it away. And here is your senior leader, really, as good as Dylan Brown's been this year. Your ace is your senior guy, right? And the guy who has been just consistent. And here he is being that guy and showing up in the exact moment you need him to be that guy. So it was huge.
Yeah, just so important to get that win for nothing else other than team morale. Like to not go 1-6 on the road trip, to pick up another win over a ranked team, and just show that, all right, things have not gone our way this entire series. We get, like you said, embarrassed Friday, 8-run 8th inning on Saturday in a game that I think we had every opportunity to go and win. And just to reset, roll Blake out there and let him just plow through that order and put you in a spot to win, it's huge. I mean, it's massive. We're not 0-3 in the Sun Belt going into this weekend because of the way that Blake threw the ball and got some timely hits and got guys in to do enough to win it.
And as a photographer, gave me a bunch of this was not the only one of these turning and shouting celebrate. There were at least 2 or 3 innings of these that I could have picked from. They were just give me wonderful, fun, great shots, which I know he loves. I think he changed his profile picture again from the last screaming shot I got him at Georgia Tech to one of these.
Yeah, there were quite a few that I saw coming through my text messages throughout the day on Sunday with him. And then, of course, we had the ones from Bailey earlier from the other night. We got to figure out the Friday pitching now, because what we tried to do this past Friday did not get it done. And it's difficult because you're kind of experimenting a little bit. Like you don't necessarily know how some of these guys are going to do in that starting role or the opener role, whatever you want to call it. But I think this is a great weekend to go figure out who your Friday starter is going to be. Because as much as it would make sense to move Dylan to Friday or Blake to Friday, I don't think you want to mess with their rhythm at this point.
No, I definitely agree with that. I think they're fine where they are, and you figure out the rest. I think the plan originally was probably to have Ben Moore pitch on Friday after Ethan, but as things got out of hand, that just became not feasible. And again, now we know Ben had a bad outing, but Ben's a phenomenal pitcher. Ben's a really good pitcher, and one bad outing doesn't make you bad. I think Ethan Hubble is an answer there. I think he's a much better pitcher than he's had some good outings. He's had some, just kind of so-so outings. He's talented. He's a big kid. He's got kind of a little bit of a funk in his delivery. He's done some really good pitching in JUCO. So I think hopefully, he comes out Friday and he shows what he's got, because I think he's got some skills. And we've seen a few of the guys out there, Luke Ridley, as he's getting healthy, is showing some stuff. Jace Park had a great week. He came in mop-up duty really on Tuesday and mop-up duty in that game on Friday, but he threw 3 scoreless innings between those two. And again, this is a guy we talked about. Finney talked about him, leading into the season. I talked about how good he was in the fall. I think Finney said he had a cut on his finger that kind of messed some things up, but so he's getting it back. But some of these guys, there are guys who are showing some things and stepping up, and you're seeing like, okay, Bailey and Kellen are kind of the guys now. They're clearly like, the ones you're looking to come out of the bullpen in the big spots, and you're figuring out who else can do the other stuff. Marco, he didn't have the greatest outing on Friday, but he's had some very good outings. Marco Lavarius had some very good outings. So the pieces are there again. You still You don't want to be here in what are we in week 6 of the season now? You're still trying to figure things out. That's not the most ideal. You would hope it got figured out, but that's just how things go. They're college kids sometimes. You hope. So hopefully, like I said, it's a good week. Tomorrow is a good day. I mean, I wonder if tomorrow you might see some of these guys who haven't got opportunities at all yet, maybe to save a few of the guys for the weekend. But again, it's also an opportunity to let them go out and throw. So you might still see some of the guys who are figuring things out tomorrow.
Yeah, because not everyone has been on all of these travel trips.
Yeah.
It's usually a little bit smaller party, so you do get a little bit more limited with the bullpen and who can eat innings. William & Mary, Georgia State, I think all of our home series, you're just going to see more bodies in the dugout, more guys that could potentially be available if we run into a situation like we did on Friday where, you kind of got to lose that game to try to salvage something else the rest of the series with your bullpen arms and things like that.
I think we still have a roster limit for the conference games. So you'll probably see more bodies in the dugout just because we're closer and they can put them on a van or whatever, a bus across the water. But yeah, I think you could have guys available. I kind of mentioned that we were at the airport. I said, you're gonna have to reintroduce yourself to a few of these guys when we get back. Huh? And like, yeah. So you hope if they come in and they show if it's not this week and maybe some of these other midweek games that where we're playing close that some of these guys can come and hopefully. I mean, you saw that with Dylan Tostrup, right? Dylan Tostrup, when he wasn't injured and he wasn't on those first couple of trips, and then now he's in this last trip, and he's again had some moments where he weren't as good, had some moments where he's very effective. So some of these things you got to iron out, but he's again getting healthy. So yeah, it might be that some of those guys that haven't, and there were still Connor Schumann and Will Orberson were on the trip, and neither one of them actually got to appear in a game. Which me as the photographer, I want to try to get pictures of everybody. I'm like, put them in the game, put them in there. Like when the games get a little out of hand, I'm like, put Schumann in, put Orberson in.
Need some action shots now.
Yeah, like right, like that's like I got shots of them just hanging out, but like I want that cool picture for them. You want it for them and their family. You want it for when I make them a baseball card, you want something cool to put on there. But so there are guys who still can get opportunities. And you never know who can surprise you. I mean, I always like to think back to. I think it was 2018, the terrible year, the year we only won 15 games, which I don't think this year is going to be that year. But we had so many injuries that we ended up with Luke Krantz, who wasn't even on the roster. He wasn't even on the original 40-man roster or 30, whatever it was. And they had to get like a waiver to add him, and he ended up throwing like 45 innings and being great for us. So, you really don't know who is going to step up. So there's still plenty of opportunity. I mean, there's a lot of season left. We've played 18 games out of 56. There's a ton of season left. So there's going to be guys who are going to be important competitive parts of things by the end of the year who are not right now.
And what's left on the calendar is what's most important to ODU fans.
Yes.
It's conference games. And aside from the one game with East Tennessee State, it's all Virginia schools too. So you got Virginia in there, you got Norfolk State, VCU. We got Richmond mixed in there as well. So it's conference and teams that you want to beat because you probably know someone that went to one of those schools and you don't want to hear them run their mouth. Whether it's about baseball, women's lacrosse, football, basketball, it doesn't matter. You don't want to lose to those schools in anything. So I think you almost have to just start ignoring our overall record at this point and look at the Sun Belt record and then how we do in these games against Virginia opponents the rest of the way. That's what I'm looking at because you can't go get those games back anyway. Like our path to making the postseason is we're going to need to win the Sun Belt tournament. We're going to need to have a great conference record. And then for bragging rights, of course, like we just don't want to lose to VCU or Richmond. I would love to go hang an L on Virginia too. That would be a whole lot of fun. Yeah. But all those are still very much in front of us. We finally have some baseball weather starting to show up. So I would just encourage you, if you like baseball at all, get out and go catch a game at some point, whether it's Wednesday.
If you don't like baseball at all, get out and catch a game. I don't care if you like it. I went to some ODU soccer games. I'm not a huge fan of soccer. Now I will say, as I went out there and I'm taking pictures of it, I learned to appreciate it. Right. Like I was like, okay, I get it. I still don't really see the national, or the global appeal. But if you individually find something you enjoy, I think you can. Yeah. But yes, even if you don't like baseball, come see baseball.
Yeah, going to be a great weekend for it. Going to be a lot of good people out. I'm excited to see. I know there are a couple of parents of former players that are actually making the trek all the way over to War Memorial this weekend to come support us. So if you can, hop across the river from Norfolk, come over to War Memorial. If you're in Richmond, you got no excuse. It's 1:15 down the road, and I'm farther
War
away.
Memorial is great. It's a really fun place to watch a game. If it's hopefully the vibe is anything like a Pilot. I mean, and frankly, I'm hoping that there's just a lot of fans over in Hampton. Just you're missing the Pilots games of the summer and come hang out and watch a game, because it's a fun place, and hopefully you figure out that, like, hey, might want to come watch some games of the summer and maybe see some of my roadie guys playing summer ball over there.
Yeah, it's a smaller stadium and you can get it really loud. And that may
Yeah.
be something we need Saturday, Sunday for an inning or two of just the crowd to get into it, get some juice behind the guys, start that avalanche that we saw Southern Miss put on us on Saturday. But let's do it to the visiting team this time. All right. Well, CB, as the day that this comes out, I'll be seeing you at William and Mary, traffic permitting for you. And then,
yeah, well, I mean, you'll see me whether it's in the first inning or the third, who knows, but you'll see me.
Don't worry. I got my iPhone. I can almost replicate 1/10 of your photos, man.
There you go. Yeah. Well, I'm excited for him. I'm looking forward to getting to see him actually playing Hampton Roads. It's gonna be very fun.
Yeah. Well, we did have one voicemail caller. We were hoping that Coach Finwood would join so he could answer the question. But play the call we got from Justice. If you listen to any Monarchist podcast, Justice has called in a couple times. And I promise if I can't answer the question for you, we will bring it back up with Coach Finwood next week. But here's Justice.
I think you guys have done an outstanding job on Hudson Homers this season. I've enjoyed each and every episode. They've been great.
We can just pause it right there. That's all we need. Thanks so much.
Done. Thank you. Appreciate it, Justice.
Quick question. So during the East Carolina game, we saw the double first base come into play. And the announcers, the broadcasters for the game, did a really poor job of trying to explain the new rule. So I was wondering maybe you guys could talk about it a little bit and give us a better explanation of what has to take place if something doesn't happen and how things are treated, et cetera. Thanks. As always, go Monarchs.
All right, well, we definitely appreciate the call and the numbers on the screen if you're watching on YouTube, even though CB's head is currently in the way. But we have it out on all of our social medias as well. And would love to get some more voicemails, and we're happy to share them with Coach Finwood and get his thoughts. I don't know, CB, you have any thoughts on this?
I don't have a beautiful, great explanation for the rule. I know apparently the rule is that you have to touch the green or orange bag, whichever color it might be. I thought it was incredibly stupid. I can't blame ECU for challenging it because they knew the rule, and that's what you got to do that moment because Maverick gets on. That's something's happening, but it was upsetting. And I guess if that's the rule, that's the rule. I think it kind of I think it's they add these rules sometimes for safety that it's like how many people have actually gotten hurt from this. It's you add it. It's like the taking your shoes off the airport, right? Well, because one guy one time like 30 years ago had a bomb that probably was only going to blow his foot off and nothing else. So now you have to take your shoes off the airport forever. Yeah.
I would guess it's just a way to enforce that you stay in the running lane that you are supposed to for safety, right? Like you have to run to that outer bag because the position player is thinking, I need to get to the inner bag, like the normal bag. So I didn't realize that it was like a hard and fast rule that you had to. I kind of thought like, you can hit either one. I mean, what do you do if you go round that into a double and you somehow clip both bases? Like, are you out now? Like what? I don't know how that works. We will ask Coach Finwood that next week when he is back on with us. We'll try to get a more firm answer, what was explained to him from the umpires. Because I think that's important too of what did the umpires explain it as? And that's something you don't necessarily get with a lot of the ESPN Plus broadcasts because they don't have the connection there. But yeah, it was weird.
And it's also the question of is it every single, is it only on the close plays or is it every single play? If I get a hit, if I hit a single just out to left field right in front of the guy, no question about the play whatsoever. And if I run to first and step on the white base and they throw it to first and then do a replay, am I out? Like, I mean, that's the question. Is it only on bang, bang plays or like, is that a judgment? So I have a lot of questions. I'm with you, Justice. We'll bookmark this one next time we have Finney on, because I think we didn't get a chance to ask him because he was dying last week. He was deathly ill and joined us anyway. I know he's feeling better now. I hope he's okay. I don't know. He was supposed to be here. I'm assuming something important going on that he couldn't make it. Because we love him. So we appreciate him being here all the time he's been here, and miss him when he's not. He's a wonderful man.
Yes, I miss hearing him, especially after he was sick last week. I'm I'm wondering at some point this season, is a home run going to get overturned because the guy did his trot and stepped on the wrong base? Because I think if that happens, like an
that's the
umpire's going home
question.
in a
Is
bag.
yeah, like when do you have to take? Then yeah, that is the question. So that's I do want some more clarification on when do you have to touch the safety base. And again, maybe it's all super easy. They've been doing it in softball for as long as I've been alive, so maybe it's all super easy. But it's definitely a new thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, Justice, appreciate the call. We appreciate everyone who is listening in. Make sure to tell your friends, tell your family, grab somebody's phone who doesn't know how to use it, subscribe on Spotify, YouTube. We are all over the place. But that will do it for us today. Hope to see you out either in Williamsburg on Wednesday or at War Memorial Friday through Sunday. Go Monarchs.
Go Monarchs.